So I've been looking at the hills here in Cheney. And that's kind of some bad news. Is hay's late. The good news is, if I could get a contract with the city, I'm good to start mowing. I'd be good to start mowing once I get the license. All these hills and stuff are just covered in thick brush that I could easily knock down. Like this stuff it ranges from more than ankle deep to all the way up to almost my waist. But it averages out to just below the kneecap. Your average lawn care guy ain't gonna handle that. I can honestly tell you, I've seen many lawn care guys try to do what I do. They suck. They fail at it because they don't know what a country boy knows. Stick to what you know and find a good mentor, like myself, who could teach you what I do. In general, I'm looking for a really good patch to really show you something that's just tall. And by it being tall, like here we go, that's right about waist high there. If my boots was off, it'd be waist high. Also, if my buddy Tom, a fellow Harley rider, is watching this, you're in my prayers, along with all 4 of those people that were on the motorcycles in Idaho. We talked about that together today. That was a humbling moment for all of us in general. Anyways, back to the main subject. What I do, let me give you a little backstory as to how I got my start. From 2007 to 2012, I was contracted out by the county fire department in my area as a response personnel for wildland fires. What I specialized in was knocking down really tall stuff in a hurry. And quite frankly, they had me doing a lot of regular mows on their firehouses in general, and a lot of times they had me doing things like wiring and stuff like that, just running wire back and forth on the rafters of firehouses going up in my area. But if you look around, you'll see it. A lot of stuff here. I remember when Firehouse 33 of Spokane, Washington's Spokane County Fire Protection District 3 was getting its landscaping installed by myself. And a lot of stuff was just going on. It is what it is. A lot of respect for a guy who is willing to train like that, bouncing a basketball while jogging and running. Up a good grade nonetheless. But running ain't really for me at this time. I'd just rather get out and walk and enjoy the scenery. I'm looking around and check this out. Let me flip this camera. Actually, I can't really but this is some steep grade stuff. We're talking 100% and more of a grade. That is, for every 100 centimeters forward you go horizontally, you're going at least 100 centimeters up when you're on 100% plus grade. For those of you Americans out there, for every foot you go out horizontally, you're going at least a foot up. You look around and there's just so much to do in general in life, and I can debunk all the COVID symptoms. It's nothing but an influential scam in society. Shortness of breath can be caused by CO2 buildup, which is carbon dioxide, perfectly okay to breathe some in. You breathe it in your atmospheric air. But when you hyperventilate, the treatment for that is to hyperventilate into a bag, in a paper bag, which builds up the CO2 back into your system, thus bringing it from alkalosis to normal. Well, when you're wearing a mask constantly, you're constantly in an acidosis state. And when you're in an acidosis state, it's a really scary situation. And that mask is the cause of your fear. Now, that also causes severe and extreme dehydration. So, with that being said, severe and extreme amounts of dehydration. Well, that mask is actually capturing that moisture from your breath, which bacteria lives on. Think about that a minute. The bacteria you're expelling gets caught in the mask that's getting drenched by just your breath. Eventually, your mask is a breeding ground and gives something for viruses and such to collect onto it. Well, factually speaking, a lot of viruses that are labeled the flu are a very dictative way of influencing you into doing something. Act out of education, not out of fear. And if you're wondering what my qualifications are, I can definitely tell you this. Or I can definitely tell you, I've learned this on my own body, and I've definitely paid the price, not in money, so much as I have with my own quality of life. Think about that a minute. I spent 17 years of my life constantly being forcibly injected with these chemicals and things that mock the virus that my parents wanted to inoculate me from or vaccinate me from. Can't really blame them. They're both nurses. They buy into that lie. In general, get out, get your damn mask off your face, get some oxygen into those lungs, and restore your CO2, your O2, your nitrogen, and so on balances within your bloodstream. Just getting out and walking will really go a long way. I'm around a lot of greenery right now. You know, we're talking real grasses and trees and stuff. That's going to wear you out for a little bit. Starting to go out on walks without that mask on because you're not used to that kind of air. But continuing on, other things that are associated with COVID-19, like shortness of breath. Well, that's pretty much just hyperventilating. And a panic attack at that. So you have a panic attack while hyperventilating, your body's trying to repair itself. And you're having a panic attack, so your heart hurts. It's extreme amounts of burden on your heart that are both unnecessary and excessive amounts of stress can hurt you more than anything the government can throw at you. Now, let's talk about weight issues. Okay, I'm going to show something here. I'm comfortable at my weight. Okay? And the reason I'm comfortable at it, I'm good at maintaining it. I have good self-control. I've developed it over my lifetime. And at 26, it's a lot of life to live. Learning skills like that from parents who cared. You just look at the facts here. Get out, get some air. It's better for your health to throw the mask in the garbage than it is to throw it on your face. And sneezing. That one happens a lot from things like dust and so on and so forth. Well, when your immune system is always so busy dealing with your normal day-to-day life, it doesn't have time to overreact to little things like pollen and dog, pet dander and stuff like that. A lot of the fragrances out there that people wear and that people put in their homes is very toxic to the body. A lot of the chemicals like bleach are very toxic to the body. You drink anything other than water, you're harming your body. I know I'm flipping your life upside down with this video. I know I'm blowing your mind if you have never actually heard this before. Okay? I got scientific proof. I'm a walking proof of it. I wore one of those stupid masks for 20 minutes. I will never put one on my face ever again. I can't do it. That to me was a million times worse for torture than what I went through over the course of 3 years of being punched until I was knocked out, and so on and so forth. And there's public records on that because the dumbass went to jail. But anyways, the most healthy thing you can do, leave your car keys at home, get out and take a freaking walk without a stupid mask on. And there's a reason that I'm referring to some of these things as stupid. Because if you believe that thing is going to keep you safe, all it's going to do is wind you up in the hospital from either acidosis or from extreme dehydration or a whole number of other issues. I was in a bar today, just simply sitting there happy with my water and my taco. No one was wearing masks, no one gave a shit. The only masks being worn were to keep the facial hair out of the food. Let that sink in. And they weren't covering mouths, they were covering facial hair. That was the only coverings anyone had on their head. Other than maybe a baseball cap, but that's neither here nor there. You look at the ways that the human body can heal itself. I know that seems really taboo to you, letting your body heal itself. But guess what? My annual medical bill I pay fully out of pocket. All of my bills, I have no insurance being pulled on a monthly basis. None. Not even on an annual basis, really. Although I did have an insurance pull on my vision this year, which would have been about $40 out of pocket. And I have an annual CDL pre-screen for $300. Pay for it right out of pocket. And I'm good for the whole year. By the way, you know how they say to a little boy, want to know what's worse than the doctor having your balls in your hand and having you turn your head and cough? Get used to these two fingers in a place that you wouldn't imagine them going up. I get that every year. It's called a prostate exam. I'm required to have those in my line of work. Not only that, even though I'm 26 and have an annual prostate exam, I also get things done that you wouldn't think of. Things like, man, that bus is definitely empty. And there was one person on it. But you look at the scientific evidence that I'm proving here. Screw the lies a politician tells you. Those are all lies. They're ticks latching on to you from every direction. You'll have one tick on you, they're all going to be on you within minutes. That's why it's called politics. Because there's a lot of ticks sucking off your income and stuff like that. You don't need medical insurance. You need to get at the program I've got here. A lot of the issues you have are labels from a doctor. Okay? Diabetes. That's just sugar addiction. It's perfectly acceptable. Yet, cocaine addiction's not. A prescription pill popper is far more acceptable than a crackhead. That's an issue in my book. Okay, I can honestly say I've been there, I've done it. I've popped pills from a doctor. None of it actually cured me at all. It was just a band-aid on a bullet wound that I needed to shut up and deal with and overcome. I did that with God. And I can honestly say I enjoyed every minute of my experience getting to where I am in the last year. Where am I? I'm where I'm spiritually free. I'm in God's arms. When I'm not able to walk on my own, God carries me. But, you look at all the ways that humans and nature and blah, 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 blah can intertwine. Check this out, okay? This is a huge grass field right here. It looks like crap. Why does it look like crap? Because it's on drugs, much like a crackhead. You dug in your fields, you're going to get better fields that last longer, have higher drought tolerance. Farming, oh my gosh. I can't believe 90% of the people buy the stupid stuff they buy at the stores. I can't even believe so many people go to a store and choose the lifestyle of having to go to a store for all of their food. That's like, here, take my money that I don't have much of as it is for a product that's going to hurt me. That hurts me and does long-term damage. You just look at the facts, people. All this GMO crap, it's going to catch up with you. It really, truly is. All right, now check this out. I'm going to blow your mind. You want to know how to tell which trees are being taken care of the least and properly assisted the least, pretty much the most distressed trees, walk around town, take a note. The trees that are the first to lose their leaves and the last to get them, those are in the worst stress. So many misnomers about snow removal. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe them. Like, I'm walking down a sidewalk here. They discharge this crap into the road rather than into the drainage ditch. It doesn't get stupider than that. By the way, there was one of the few men above me driving by when it comes to religion. By the way. But, you want to talk about someone knowing their stuff. Look around. It's not about whose grass is the greenest on the other side of the fence at that moment. If you see someone's taking care of their lawn and it's easier to maintain. By the way, this chemical fertilizer, it actually causes a lot more expenses associated with that. We're talking more frequent watering from lack of natural materials in the ground, also known as organic matter. If you're wondering what kind of grounds I have to be able to talk about this, I'm a horticulturist, an agriculturist, and not only that, I'm an agribusiness consultant. And quite frankly, those who choose to be on my list of program, those who choose to follow my program, yeah, they pay a little more up front, but they get a lot better yields in the long run. Far better production, really. And not only that, way higher profit margins. The mechanized logging, it's really, really a bad market to be in. It really is. It is saturated because with mechanized logging, you can, order comes in. Someone, mill places an order for 10,000 board feet worth of logs. Well, they get the 10,000 board feet of logs in a day. That's how saturated it is. We're talking a 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 inch piece of wood. Doesn't cost crap. And when you're spinning your wheels and stuff, and you're losing forward momentum, back her down, cowgirl. Now, one thing that I take near and dear to my heart and my soul is doing the right thing. Even when no one's watching. It's called integrity. Went to a bar today to get a taco. I could have ordered a drink. I'm of age. Came from that bullshit in the first place. I said, water's going to be fine today. I'll take that taco. I ate my taco, I drank my water, and I got out of there. Alcohol, let me put it this way. If I'd have known what I was missing out by being clean and sober to the level I am today, if I'd have known this 12 years ago, 12 years ago is about a good number there. That means at 14, if I'd have known what it was like to have never to be clean and sober, no alcohol in the system, and been able to study the bar setups and the atmospheres and all that, I definitely wouldn't have drank to the level I do in the past. I misspoke there. To the level I did. my mistake. If you want to focus on my mistake, buzz off. I could point out a bunch of your flaws. Like you women, you think you're better just by, you think you're more beautiful by wearing makeup. I don't wear makeup. Shoot. People have been trying to tell me to get my hair cut. When are you going to get your hair cut and get a real job? Well, I'll tell you right now, if grabbing a shovel isn't a real job, then the life you live isn't real. So you want to get on me about that crap? A desk job is not a real job. It's just a thing to sit there and be frustrated over and hate your life and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not going any higher in cert. My guys are appreciative of my position. They were pressuring me and assisting me to get to, saying that this was a good position for me. And there's things going on behind the scenes and that are gonna happen in the future that I just can't tell you. What I can tell you, wildfires are gonna be very devastating. A lot of people that retired last year are gonna be coming out of retirement this year because there's a huge shortage of wildland firefighters coming up in the scope of the public. It's only a matter of time. We only have a month before we're in wildfire season in my area. A month. That's it. That's it. A month. You think a month is a long time? Oh no, it's definitely not. It takes 13 weeks to get 10 guys ready. Starting with 25 guys and gals, okay? It takes 10 guys. It takes me 13 weeks to go from 10 guys. We go from 25 folks standing in front of me, not knowing left and right from, not knowing a tree from not knowing a tree from a power pole darn near, to 10 people. I could put my own personal saw in their hands and they can go cut trees and stuff. Okay, I can tell you right now, I can get 10 people skilled at backburning, putting out spot fires, digging hand lines, getting ready to start building up on their skills through the task books. 4 or even 5 weeks. I can't do that. What I'm saying here is in the state of Washington, technically I could have gathered my academy of my students that I started on, I got them through the 2-day pre-screening process, and then their first day of the academy and we were shut down. We couldn't train anyone that was emergency personnel qualified. That's bad. Check this out. And this is where things get worse. Right? On Friday, last week, I could have started getting people ready. But you know what? It's too little, too late. I know I'm going to look like an a-hole. But you know what? I took the guys I had last year and gals that were ready for the training they got. They were out with drip torches and stuff, doing prescribed burns with the Department of Natural Resources from time to time. Building up on their skills. Getting things checked off in their task books. Because what we need is not just hands. We need skilled folk. Now, putting another perspective into it here, I have yet to see a Catholic church butted right up against either an LDS or an Episcopalian church. In this town, there's an LDS Religional Institute butted up against an Episcopalian church. An LDS and an Episcopalian can sit there and talk for hours without a thought in the wind, without a second thought in life. Talking about things that Catholics don't talk about with anyone because they think that if you're not in their church, you're not of God, or that you believe in a different God. To me, I can truly say I'm comfortable being up on the stands to this day, explaining myself. And you look at all the facts here, and there's not a heck of a lot that most people are willing to do to hear the other side out. Let's look at 6 months of wasting my time, slanderizing me, and then the eyewitness has to literally loudly speak above everyone in the courtroom and say, no, he's innocent. He wasn't even there. Because I wasn't. I was on video camera more than a football field away from the alleged scene of the alleged crime, which they literally were pulling crap out of their pants, throwing it at me, seeing where it would stick. For 6 freaking months. Justice does not get served unless you demand it. Your opposition's not going to be respectful. America's ability to be respectful of other sides is really, really difficult. You mean everyone as a mirror. Treat them like they treat you. And you know what? I can tell you, some people think I'm an a-hole. Some people love me. Some people think I'm a nice guy. Some people like to... Some people, they enjoy a conversation with me because they enjoy how they treat others because it comes back to them. Some hate me because, well, I'm not making any accusations, but if you don't love people, you don't love Christ. By the way, a little dusty out here, by the way. Continuing on, there's people, I won't even waste my time by giving them the time of day. And I'm not judging anyone, I'm just saying. There are people who have treated me so poorly throughout my life, they're not even worth a word on my breath to their face. They want a word from my mouth, they're going to have to pull me up on YouTube like you did. Let that one sink in. I'm coming up with another brand. It's in the works, but I've got an idea of what I want to name it. I want y'all's suggestion here. Well, your thoughts on this. What do you think of, for a motorcycle riding channel, Dangerous Freedom? I got a whole intro and stuff in mind. Whole outro in mind. But, y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay with God. Because I'm rooting for you to be able to get in with God. He welcomes people, but you gotta earn it first. Whether you gotta go through spiritual jail or you find him on earth, you find out what he's about on earth. I can tell you this much. There's a lot of people who don't want to believe the fact that they've been lied to. The statement out there is, it's easier to convince a person it's easier to fool a person than it is to convince a person they've been fooled. Let that sink in. And remember this. It used to be if only 10% are saying it, they're liars. Now it's if only 10% are, if very few are saying it, they're telling the truth, because society is polar opposite of what it was 20 years ago. I know this firsthand because I got my business started in let me think here, about 1998, 1999. Sweeping driveways, sweeping lawns. Think about that. Or sweeping driveways, sweeping walkways, and sweeping sidewalks. Keep that in mind. God bless. Tune in for another one. And if you haven't already, and you've been thinking about it, throw me in your news feed for your subscriptions by clicking that red subscribe button. And if you haven't already, strike up a conversation with me in the comments. Quite frankly, if you're intelligent, you're going to look really good. But if you're more smart than you really are, you're just going to look like a fool. But take that leap of faith with me. I got qualifications up the yin-yang to talk about that which I do talk about. And maybe we'll see each other in church one day, or out on the roads, or out on the streets. Who knows? I walk, I ride, and I drive. But right now my license is technically suspended for sake of argument because of the government. Not me. They shut down before I had my opportunity. That's a lying government there. Have a good one. Stay safe. As always, be appreciative of what you have. And desire no one else's belongings. And by the way, if you're wondering who it was this, I'm certain, stole from me, Wilo Vader. Think that one through. He ran for high hell, and I got text messages to prove it. He didn't want his check, didn't want nothing. Because he got more, he stole more from me than what he was going to get paid. He didn't like the fact that I don't like meatheads trying to demand money from me. And I'm not interested in charges. I just want you all to learn from that. $150 speaker is not worth losing your job over. Especially 2 hours of pay and calling a person an idiot who's been in the industry for 20 years of his life. So as always, stay safe. God bless. We'll see you in the next video or in person.